Since the 5th century BC, the native people of northern Africa, first identified by the Greeks as Berbers, were pushed back from the coast by successive waves of Phoenician, Roman, Vandal, Byzantine, Arab, Turkish, and finally, French invaders. The greatest cultural impact came from the Arab invasions of the 8th and 11th centuries AD, which brought Islam and the Arabic language. The effects of the most recent French occupation, French language and European-inspired socialism are still pervasive today. North African boundaries have shifted several times during various stages of the conquests. Algeria's modern borders were created by the French, whose colonialization began in 1830. We can see a drastic jump in the amount of land that was taken by France from 1870 to the 1900s, in which they took almost half of Algeria. By 1934, all of Algeria had been conquered and controlled by France. Even though France had so much control of Algeria, there was traditional Muslim populations in rural areas that remained separated from the modern economic infrastructure of the European community. Algerians began their uprising on November 1st of 1954 to gain rights denied them under French rule. The revolution, launched by a small group of nationalists who call themselves the National Liberation Front, or FLN, was a war in which both sides brutally targeted civilians. During the period of hostilities that extended from 1954 to 1962, the population grew at a greatly reduced rate because of the number of people killed in the war. The exact number of deaths is not certainly known. However, French officials estimate it at 350,000. Algerians place it at 1.5 million. Eventually, negotiations led to a ceasefire signed by France and the FLN in March of 1962 at Evian, France. The Evian Accords also allowed a referendum on self-determination to be held. The referendum was held in Algeria on July 1st of 1962, and France declared Algeria independent. Over 1 million French citizens living in Algeria at the time, called the Pieds Noirs or Black Feet, left Algeria for France. In September of 1962, Ahmed Ben Bella was formally elected president. On September 8th of 1963, a constitution was adopted by referendum. On June 19th of 1965, President Ben Bella was replaced in a non-violent coup by the Council of the Revolution headed by Minister of Defense, Colonel Houari Boumediene. Ben Bella was first imprisoned and then exiled. Boumediene, as president of the Council of the Revolution, led the country as head of state until he was formally elected on December 10th of 1976. Boumediene is credited with building modern Algeria. He died on December 27th of 1978. Following nomination by an FLN party congress, Colonel Chadli Benjedid was elected president in 1979 and re-elected in 1984 and 1988. A new constitution was adopted in 1989 that allowed the formation of political parties other than the FLN. It also removed a lot of power from the armed forces, which had run the government since the days of Boumediene. Among the scores of parties that sprang up under the new constitution, the Militant Islamic Salvation Front, or FIS, was the most successful, winning more than 50% of all votes cast in municipal elections in June 1990. April 2014, Bouteflika wins the fourth presidential election with 81.53% of the vote. Opposition claims serious irregularities in the conduct of the poll and called the result a fraud. Long-standing problems continue to face Bouteflika, including large-scale unemployment, a shortage of housing, unreliable electrical and water supplies, government inefficiencies and corruption, and the continuing activities of extremist militants. So in summary, Algeria has been taken control of by many empires. France has made the largest impact, and Algeria is still attempting to recover from its dark past.